Hi, Taurus Sun and Rising. Welcome to your February 2025 Astro Update. It's Rena here. So, as the month of February begins, we have the eclipse season coming in. The eclipses officially take place in March, but there might be developments in February that you are already having to contend with that could affect particular areas of your life. I'm just going to touch very briefly on this. I'm going to elaborate in March when I do the March forecast, which will actually be in, probably the first part of February. So it will be in advance of March. The lunar eclipse is going to be on March 14th, and it will be in Virgo, and that is the fifth house for Taurus people. It is the house of love and creativity. And then on the 29th of March, there will be a solar eclipse at 9 degrees of Aries in your 12th house. So this is the kind of thing that can affect you in a lot of different ways, but I'm not going to talk about that right now. I just want to say that you may notice that these areas of life have some kind of trigger to them of one sort or the other. But the other thing, as we go into the month of February, we're in Aquarius season, and Aquarius is a fixed sign like you. So any planets that go into Aquarius are going to be in an angular house. In this case, for Taurus people, this is the 10th house of career. Now, I have Taurus rising at a late degree, and my midheaven, I think, is about 3 Aquarius. So it depends on your particular chart, because who knows, maybe for some people this would hit in your ninth house. I mean, it's hard to know specifically, but I do these forecasts just looking at that one placement because I don't want to make things more complicated. Because I'll get screwed up if I even try. I tried that before, and I'm not going to do that. So, but what we're talking about here is the career sector in the 10th house, and that's a very important area of life. Even if you're retired, I mean, the 10th house can be your place in the world, your status and reputation. And, other things can affect that. Sometimes people, when we use the term going viral, it's not just like a video on YouTube. It can be that you are gaining recognition for something. That would be the 10th house. And so the sun is there as the month begins. And on the 4th, we have Jupiter going direct at 11 degrees of Gemini. Gemini for Taurus is the second house of earned income. This is the house that Taurus rules in astrology, so it is significant for Taurus. This is Taurus's domain. And Jupiter going direct here can have a positive effect on finances. If you have found in the last several months that things have slowed down a bit, I do think that that is possible. I have kind of noted that in my own life, in not just the second house, but other houses that are connected to work, and that even like seemingly like indirectly are connected to these things. I think that can really show up. And then when Jupiter goes direct and you say, wow, now I'm starting to make more money. It was like stagnant, because Jupiter, one of the things Jupiter can represent is money, but also luck and expansion. So wherever Jupiter is, it wants to expand that area. And the thing that when Jupiter goes retrograde here, it can, it's almost like soul searching sometimes, where it's like you're really looking at your money making ability and how you're making money. Is this really right for me? Is this really true for me? Um, See if it starts to pick up that way. And then the ruler of Taurus, which is Venus, goes into Aries. So it's going into a new house, a new sign in a new house. And this is going to be your 12th house. So Venus going into the 12th house can mean that you are enjoying solitude. Like Venus can be about pleasure. And so the 12th house can be about meditation and contemplation and things of a spiritual nature. And when Venus is there, it's almost like you derive pleasure from these kinds of activities. You may even spend money on a retreat center, someplace where you can do this in a very I was going to use the word luxurious, but that is not what I mean. I don't mean that treating it like a spa, but really having maybe an organized type of retreat where you don't have to cook, or you know that the meals are provided. You can have this kind of social connection with others in a spiritual environment, because Venus can be about friendships and things like that. So that could be possible. You could be dating someone and being secretive about it. Like you don't want other people to know what you're doing. Or you could even meet your soulmate, because this is the house of past lives. So it could be something that is like a very important love connection that you make. On the 12th, we have a full moon at 24 degrees of Leo, another fixed sign. And this time it's in the other direction, so it's going to be in the 4th house of home and family. Full moon can bring things to a head, so sometimes there could be some kind of drama that is, kind of brought up because maybe something that was hidden comes to the surface, or things are building and they finally reach this crescendo. But it can be, maybe it's like a dream that you had that is realized. If you have wanted to find the perfect home or the perfect, like real estate or whatever, this might be that time when you finally realize, like the harvest period for what it is that you have been wanting to manifest. It could be something like that. And for some people, this can even be a an aha moment that is connected to your past. The 4th house is our childhood, and it can be like really connecting the dots about something that maybe has always plagued you, and you realize, you can see how it happened, and you gain that insight. So it can be very emotional, I would say. First of all, it's in Leo, and Leo is a fire sign. Fire signs are emotional. They're passionate about, their beliefs, and that's a form of emotion. But then you add the fact that it's in a water house. It's in Cancer's domain, the 4th house of home and family. And that is going to really be, it could be sentimental. It could be like something, you realize something has ended. And it may be sad, sometimes to know that something is gone. The 4th house is, like for instance, if you realize that you are leaving, maybe even if you've gotten some kind of wonderful news about some property and you know that you're going to be moving in there, you still may have a bit of melancholy or sentimentality, because you know that wherever you're living now is going to be eventually something that's history for you, and maybe you start to even get a little bit sentimental ahead of time. The fourth house, by the way, is also your mom. Some people say the father, so there could be something you learn about either one of your parents at this time. On the 14th, Mercury goes into Pisces. So now we're going to start to see some water energy. As a matter of fact, the last 4 transits that I have here are all in water signs. And for Taurus, this is the 11th house, which is actually a very kind of hopeful place because it's the house of hopes and wishes. And it's the house of, friendships and group associations. So it's a social place. And it's also the house of gains. So it can have a connotation with money. And Mercury going here on the 14th, this is on Valentine's Day, this could be you thinking of ideas to make more money. And maybe there's something that you're like really reviewing regarding some kind of profits and things of that nature. Also, you might be reaching out to friends more at this time. On the 18th, the sun goes into Pisces, so the sun is in this domain, and that can definitely make you more social. Now, remember what I said, that Venus is in the 12th house, so there might be a balance of like enjoying your alone time and also putting yourself out there with other people. On the 23rd or 24th, depending on where you live in the world, Mars is going direct at 17 degrees of Cancer. For Taurus people, this is the 3rd house, which is the house of Gemini in astrology. Taurians have it in their 3rd house, and it's the house of communication. It's the house of social media and media in general, teaching and learning. So anything with a mental pursuit involved. And Mars here can make a person very motivated. For instance, talking about that Mercury in the 11th house, if you are thinking about maybe even with I think of the 11th house as the internet, just as a 3rd house. So thinking of ideas online to make more money and then implementing them. With Mars, it's like putting things into motion. Now, yes, we do have the Mars post-retrograde shadow. Just because it goes direct on this day doesn't mean it's going to be at its full strength. It's going to take until early May for this to happen. So you were looking at a good, let's see, like 2+ months. But I think about how the fast time is going, and it probably is going to be just sailing by. Watch out for any kind of aggressive speech or argumentativeness that you may not realize you're engaging in, because it can really pack a punch. When Mars is in the 3rd house, there can be a lot of, when Mars is in any house, there can be aggressive activity, and especially when you have experienced this retrograde for months, it can feel like, okay, like you're being let out of some sort of box or something, and it can make you overcompensate for that period of time by being even more aggressive. So you don't want to do that. You want to be much more like, if the proper, what I would say is the proper way to utilize this energy is to use it as motivation. If you're a writer and you've been kind of like feeling very like you can't do it, and you have these projects in mind, and maybe you've always wanted to start a blog and you just kind of procrastinated, and then the retrograde happened. That would be the way to channel it, not by fighting with people online or even in your personal life. The third house can be your siblings and your neighbors. And because you have that full moon in the fourth house, there may be something with your family that is kind of heating up, and you may be tempted to kind of go, war with siblings. Maybe there's a good reason for that, something that they've done that has really upset you, but you can choose how you're going to manage anger. Mars can be our anger management style. And so look at your natal Mars for more information on how you tend to express anger, because anger is a legitimate emotion. It's just how do people express it that can be problematic. But you may get a lot done for anything connected to promoting yourself online at this time, when before maybe everything you tried to do, it just kind of was so hard for it to really take hold. On the 27th, we have a new moon at 9 degrees of Pisces. So you can see what I was saying, that these last 4 transits are in water. That other one was in Cancer, and then we have these 3 in Pisces. The new moon in your 11th house, the house of hopes and wishes, can make you feel like, actually, I've said this before, there's an astrologer who has since passed away, but she came up with this idea of making 40 new moon wishes when you have your new moon in the 11th house, because she said it was the luckiest house. And I tried to look for corroboration with that, because I had never read that about the 11th house. I actually always thought that the 9th house that Sagittarius rules was the luckiest house because of Jupiter. So in any case, when I bought this book by this astrologer, and I read about that, and I tried to write 40 wishes, and I couldn't do it. It was like too massive. And I realize now that you don't have to have grandiose wishes. Some of them you can dream big, but you don't have to make all of them. So they could be things that are easy to accomplish, I suppose. But in any case, this is the house of your long-range goals. So, the more that you can be aware and intentional about it, the better, because that's going to make you much more capable of realizing your dreams, because you're taking yourself seriously, like you deserve to have your dreams come true. So this can be a very positive thing. Maybe you will join a new group or meet new friends during this time frame, because you have the sun there, so maybe you are kind of mingling with others. And anyway, that's what I have for you, Taurus. I hope that this resonated. If you'd like a private reading, the link is below. Take care. Bye.